1380Z. Conklin Company with 1380Z Action News anchor Lee Conklin. First with what's happening behind the headlines. And Take 3, our panel of political analysts.
Morning, everybody. Welcome into another edition of Conklin Company. Today on the program, the Take 3 crew is back. Among the topics, the mayor's trip to Germany. Anita Lopez officially enters the mayor's race in Toledo. Phil Copeland says he still wants to manage a local union along with his full-time job, which he has just been elected to. Also making wishes come true. You're going to meet an Oregon 9-year-old battling a tough situation whose wish was granted. He will help us make a pitch about World Wish Day. But first, looking back on certainly the biggest story of this past week, the deadly terror bombings at the Boston Marathon on Monday and the wild chain of events that unfolded late in the week and into this weekend. And as we tape here on Friday, we don't know exactly how that all played out as we air on Sunday, but we do know that Lisa Stevens, Oregon middle school teacher and track coach, ran in the marathon on Monday, finished shortly before all hell broke loose.
Pretty much.
Lisa, thank you for coming in.
You're welcome.
You know, and you have your Boston Marathon Adidas running suit there. Here we are on Friday now, you know, which is a wild and wacky day as the news of this continues to unfold. And you say you haven't watched.
I haven't. I got back to the hotel late after the race because of the subway being down and not being able to locate the person that I ran with and the person that came with me. And we watched some news from about 10 till 12:30, and then the next morning we had the television on, but then I shut it off. So I haven't really turned the television on since I've been home.
And the news that unfolded since, we are not airing, but we show some of the things that happened on Monday when you were there. About 2 minutes before all this happened, you go by the finish line in what time, Lisa?
I don't remember the time of how long it took me. It was around 4 hours. I found out 4 hours, 6 minutes, and 27 seconds to be exact, because everybody told me. But the first thing I did, I knew that my teachers and students, I coach also, and we had a track meet that day. And so the first thing I did was check to make sure that I got done before I said I would get done, or close to it.
You had a goal. I mean, all runners have goals.
I did.
And what was your goal?
I wanted to finish before 3 o'clock. I was hoping to finish the marathon in 4 hours flat. But I knew when I struggled towards the end that I had to back off so I didn't cramp up, because I was not walking across the finish line. I was going to run. So when I looked at my watch, I saw 2:48 p.m. and I'm told that everything happened at 2:50. I just remember looking at the time on my watch after I stopped my stopwatch. That was the first thing I checked.
Congratulations on finishing the marathon in that time. Obviously, it came at a time that was to your benefit from a safety perspective, and we mourn the loss of the 8-year-old child and the 2 other students, the spectators who were injured in that. We always talk about talking to our kids as parents. Well, you have a lot of kids at Facet Middle School, over 100 that you have every day, right?
Personally, yes, I have about 140, and however, I felt all 500 plus over the past 14 years, the text messages and the emails that I had, some from my track students, some from former cross-country kids, because I coach at the high school as well. My heart was heavy for their concern and fear from what they saw. So I really felt compelled, plus all the staff that was in a meeting that afternoon, and they had been getting text alerts, so they had just received the text alert that I had finished, and then moments later they received text alerts that there was an explosion. So when I first turned on my phone, that's how it locked up, was all that. But I got back to school and I just felt compelled to see and talk to everyone and let them know I was safe and that I was okay, and let them know that what I experienced wasn't the horror that they saw. So I addressed every class that day thankfully I had some method students that were teaching in the morning that allowed me to ease into my day.
Student teachers?
Yes, from the University of Toledo. I have two method students, Erica Lipstraw and Tessa Allard, and so thankfully they're running my classes today.
But they're on Friday.
Yes,
yeah.
I needed a day. I found myself very emotional by Thursday. And
I can
very
feel the
exhausted.
emotion as I hear you too, and hear you as well. So I appreciate you coming in, and what is still a very difficult time for everybody who is involved. But as a runner, I understand what you're going through at 23 miles, and there was a happy moment you can look back on.
Yes.
Let's take a look, if we can, at Lisa Stevens. As she is 23 miles in, and it looks like you are running at Wildwood Metro Park here, fresh as a daisy. You turn to your friend who's taking the pictures here.
Right. That was surprising. I had been looking for her along the course and was not aware of where I'd see her. I knew she'd be out there, but when I came up to that mark and she yelled out my name and she ran out to the course, took my picture, ran alongside me for a few minutes, and she was quickly posting on Facebook my progress, but I was depleting. I was running out of gas, so I thanked her profusely that I was so glad to see her, and it really lifted my spirit. And as a matter of fact, after I ran past her, I hit the 23-mile mark, and I said, "You got 27 minutes to kick your butt if you're going to finish in 4 hours."
Yeah, you got a 5K to go, and you are done. Huh?
Well, and thankfully, I was running almost an 11-minute mile at that point. I was struggling so bad, and I was able to drop 2 minutes off of the next mile, which
adrenaline kicked in a little bit at that point.
Just because I started thinking of all the people that had been tracking me along the course, and the fact that I had promised my goal was 4 hours, so I wanted to get there, and but thankfully I had that surge. So
congratulations.
Thank you.
Fantastic, a memory certainly for many reasons that you know will never be forgotten. This race and you taking part in that. So you finished a couple of minutes ahead of what happened next. If you can, take us through that period. Have you gone through, you got your banana or a muffin or just unwinding? What's happening a couple minutes after you finish, Lisa?
I couldn't wait to walk. Once I crossed the finish line, I slowly walked ahead, and the breeze was strong. So you're a little unstable on your feet. But I just kept walking, and I don't remember what I did first at this point, but I do remember I was at the medal stand when the first explosion happened, and I remember looking back and seeing the smoke and the flash of light and the dust.
And it's interesting you said it did not appear to be as chaotic as it appears on television. Can you explain what you mean by that? For you, okay.
Personally, because of where I was located.
How far away is the medal stand?
I'm having a hard time remembering, but I remember how close it seemed that the smoke was. And when I was on the track, the day I came home, there was a track meet that night. So not only did I go through a full day of school, but we had a track meet till about 7 o'clock that night. And I remember standing there, and I said, it was probably about the length of the football field. Just visually, I'm more of a visual person, so to me it seemed like it was about that far away. I could be wrong, but I do know then I looked back to the medal stand, and people were just looking around, not sure how to respond. They handed me my medal, and then the other explosion went off, and then people kind of froze for a second. Some people were screaming and running, and they were like, "Keep moving, keep moving." I remember grabbing a bag of food. There was one person left at that stand handing things out, and I just grabbed some food and kept walking. But my thought was, I'm cold. I need to get my clothes. I didn't think of I didn't feel threatened.
That scenario, it didn't play out in your mind.
I thought, honestly, with all the cameras and the amazement of the finish line and the beauty of all that, I felt it might have been a transformer or a generator. I was hoping it was that. I mean, but I didn't feel like the whole city was going to blow. I felt concerned and scared, and I knew instantly that people, all those hundreds of people, someone had to be hurt.
Yeah.
And I saw emergency personnel dropping things, running back, jumping in golf carts. And the good thing is when you pass the finish line, the first thing you come to is a medical tent right on the side of the road if you need it. And all those people were right there. Right there immediately, and I saw a rush of people.
We know about the heroism of all the first responders and everybody who jumped in there.
I saw the rush of people, and I honestly didn't think I looked back. So
we're glad you're back.
Thank you.
Safe and sound, as are the other Northwest Ohio, Southeast Michigan runners who took part in the Boston Marathon. Difficult. I mean, I can't understand what you went through. I can understand running the marathon. I know it goes into that. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
One of the great events. You know, in our country's, in what we do, Patriots Day, the Boston Marathon. Lisa Stevens, thank you so much for sharing this tough story.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to come back in just a minute. You're going to meet an incredible young man who's going to pitch World Wish Day right after this.